confident in using the virtual environment powered by VMware. So in terms of the challenges over here, you see, in terms of reducing server costs, right? Buying bigger servers and more running multiple VMs in a server help user reduce server costs. And that is something that Microsoft and VMware does very well. And the solution is server virtualization. But there are other challenges, like storage costs. Right? Gartner says, after you virtualize, you may end up needing 2 times, or maybe up to 8 times more storage, especially when you're doing VDI. If you're not just virtualizing a server, you're virtualizing desktop, you will need a lot more storage. Sorry, let me remove this. This is getting very warm here. The third one is complexity. Like I mentioned before, after you virtualize, you may find that you need more tools to help you gain the same visibility and management capability of your virtual environment. So it becomes complex. You need more tools to see into what you couldn't see after you do virtualization, especially in terms of performance. And then the last one is high availability. You want to do HA, you want to do clustering, you want to maintain your application uptime, you want to avoid planned downtime, things like that. After you virtualize, you may see some limitation into those capability. And this 3 is where Symantec can do to help, because of our long-term partnership with Microsoft and with VMware. So, automation is something that we do and we encourage a lot. So, between virtual and physical, previously, you can do automatic server provisioning, especially with VMware, very fast. You can clone a server and you can deploy a server very quickly in VMware environment. Once you can do that, what you want to push ahead is then you want to automate the rest. You want to automate service level processes, right? Like storage management. You want to be able to automatically provision storage for a VMware server. You want to be able to do dynamic storage tiering in your virtual environment. You may want to see real-time usage reporting. Now, this morning I mentioned before, right? Veritas Operation Manager, from a single console, you can see whether physical or virtual, all your storage utilization. You can see from there. From a single console, in fact, you can also see and automatically discover all your storages in your environment. Because we have licensed all the APIs from all the major array vendors. So what we can see is our VOM, the console, can actually use the API, go talk to the hardware array, whether it's EMC or NetApp or Dell or Fujitsu arrays or IBM arrays. We can talk to those and discover all the logical units in the array, because the array also does some level of virtualization, right? So then we can actually correlate. We call it application to spindle. So storage foundation on the server can automatically help you discover the application, whether it's Exchange, Oracle, or SQL, right? From there, we can correlate that to the files of this application, to where this file sits in the volume, to where this volume is living inside the LUN in the array, to this LUN is sitting on top of what physical disk. So we call application to spindle. With that view in VOM, and you can drill down all the way, you can actually see exactly where are your Oracle files in which physical disk. So that's the level we go to. So if you think about it, not many tools can help you do that. Cross-platform, cross-physical or virtual can help you discover that. Not many. And this is important because whenever an application person needs to talk to a system person, and the system person needs to talk to a storage person, they talk in different language. right? If you are DBA, you talk in terms of tables and files and database instances. If you are a system person, you talk about operating system, you talk about volumes, you talk about file system. But if you are a storage person, you don't talk on those things. You talk about logical units, you talk about enclosures, you talk about which array, which physical disk, which logical disk, which snapshot, and so on. So for these three groups to work together, to talk the same language and look at the same console and correlate what exactly do they want to achieve in the project is very important. And VORM is the solution for them to do that very easily. We have a customer in Taiwan, one of the largest banks in Taiwan. They use the full suite of Symantec solution. In fact, they have more Symantec solution running in their shop than Symantec ourselves. So that bank, in 2003, they have about 5 to 6 terabytes. And they have 8 people managing the databases and the storage and the operating system. 8 person, 4 full-time, 4 part-time, 5 terabytes. But that's in 2002, so that's 2003, that's quite a lot, right? In 2009, from 5 terabytes, they grow to 53 terabytes. Many more servers, a lot more storages. Guess how many people they have? Still the same 8 person. Because they use our technology, it's very easy for them to work together, for them to scale, to manage more things. And that's the reality of IT. Because storage is growing double every 1.5 years, thereabout, according to IDC. But when was the last time you see your IT team headcount double? Never. So people has to do more with the same amount of people. So they need tools. If they don't have tools, you need more people. Tools will make them more efficient. So this is some of the things that we do for our user. So in terms of data protection, if you go to Sean's session or Nopchai's session or chat session later, you will see that they will also talk about how we can automate that part for you. Whenever you create a new VM, NetBackup can actually auto-detect that is a new VM, and NetBackup can actually add that new VM to the backup policy. So you will never miss out any backup for your virtual machine. Because the good thing about virtual environment is that you can create a server very fast. The bad thing is you create it so fast that maybe you forget to set up a backup policy to back it up. So NetBackup makes sure that you don't miss any of these VMs. But some of our customers, they have thousands of VMs. Thousands of VMs. So sometimes it's hard to track that every VM has a backup. And then HADR. Right. In terms of HADR, once you virtualize, you need one tool that can help you monitor all your apps, whether they are running or they are not running, or they are running in jeopardy mode, or what we call non-optimal mode. For example, it's not running on the primary node, it's running on the secondary node, things like that, or a less powerful node. So you need something that helps you monitor and alert you. You need to have policy-driven restart. How you want to fix the problem if the VM has a problem. You need a policy around that, so we can help you enforce that. And then you need coordinated failover. Right? This morning I mentioned before, application is not just one server nowadays. An application could be a set of servers. It could be one web, one application, one database. Or it could be 4 web servers, 5 application servers, and 10 databases underneath it. It could be that complex, especially if it's core banking, right? So you need coordinated failovers. When a database starts, which application server need to restart? Everything must be pre-programmed. Because you cannot just afford to call out everyone or the application architect because someone failed over a database and the application doesn't work anymore. 3 application doesn't work because you failed over that database for maintenance. And you got to call up 3 different application architects to ask them, how do I get the application to work again? Which node do I need to restart? Which node do I have to re-log on to the database, things like that. Because all these has certain connection. The web server has a certain connection to the application server. The application server has certain connections to different databases. So all these can be pre-programmed and policy-driven. So some virtualization questions that you may want to ask yourself or ask your teams. Right? Before you go ahead with virtualization project, you want to ask, how are we dealing with the storage growth, if there is any? When you plan for your virtualization effort, always try and forecast the amount of storage you need. If you end up with more virtual server than physical server, you will definitely need more storage. That is definite. Right? Because you're going to run more OS instances. How are we dealing with our virtualized storage? Or are we virtualizing our storage as well? So if you are, how are you doing it? If you are doing VDI environment, then even more you need to think about the performance of your VDI machine, the amount of storage that you use, and how you will want to scale that performance. I'll talk about that later. Know your actual utilization rate. So because you add another layer of virtualization, server virtualization in your environment, utilization rate becomes a bit more abstract to you. Because you may want to assign one bunch of terabytes to the ESX server, but the ESX server may not consume all the terabytes, right? Then these terabytes get assigned to VMs, and within the VM, they may not be 100% utilized. So you get 2 layers now instead of 1 layer. So you also need to manage that. Otherwise, you get a lot of wasted disk space as well. So how do you do that? That is another thing that you want to talk about, actual virtualization. Because if you think about it, right, there's so many virtualization that we do in a data center. Not just server virtualization. Just think about storage virtualization. Just take a step back, right? Think about storage virtualization. You buy physical disks, right? Then you do RAID. So that's one level of virtualization. After you RAID, you create logical units. That's another level of virtualization. So you don't use all the disks to create logical units, right? After you create logical units, then you bind them to the servers, right? The server has to claim them. So you may create more than that is being claimed. So that's another layer of virtualization, right? You may create, say, 1,000 LANs in your data center. Maybe 800 get masked. The other 200 is for hot spare, for example. So there's another layer of virtualization. Just storage. We haven't talked about server yet, right? So one is masked. The server has to claim it, right? Once the server claim it, create a volume, create a file system, right? So that is another layer of virtualization. The server may claim 1 terabyte, but the file system may use 30% of it only, right? And if it's a database, the database creates a large file. That 30% may not be 100% utilized. There may be holes in the database file as well. So there are multiple levels of virtualization there where storage can be wasted. And then now you add another layer of virtualization in there,